So let's talk about some of the stuff that you have been working on since then. One of those things is the Tuning Playbook. So you describe yourself as passionate about having more systemic neural network development. So neural networks are the kind of AI technology that would be used to facilitate breast cancer screening, that also facilitates all the kind of generative AI capabilities that we have today across text generation, image, video. All that stuff happens with artificial neural networks. And yeah, you have this tuning playbook that you released as part of a team at Google. And so tell us about that.
Yeah, so a lot of the motivation behind this playbook came after the work on this mammography paper, actually. At the time, and it's still kind of true today, training neural networks can be a very ad hoc. Some might uncharitably call it alchemical, and it's kind of true. But it's like there isn't. It involves a lot of experimentation, a lot of empiricism, and a lot of research to train and deploy a model. And so, something I was really interested and excited about is, well, at that point in time, like I just trained a lot of models. I knew a lot of people that had trained a lot of models. And it was like, how can we systematize this process, right? Like the broad research agenda that we were interested in is kind of like, you could imagine kind of the transition from alchemy to chemistry or something like that, right? Or it's like you could imagine like systematization can be very very helpful for engineering, right? And so frankly on that paper, like even though I'm the first author, like the other authors like know me way more than me, and everything I learned from that comes from them. And really, we kind of just got a bunch of our heads together and tried to write down what's worked, what hasn't worked. And we collectively have decades of experience training these models. And we wanted to provide kind of a systematic approach for thinking about hyperparameter tuning, architecture, like just various aspects of model selection. And it's true, this playbook was kind of released, I believe, before ChatGPT came out. But I think that a lot of the things described in that playbook the are still very true today, because the intent of that playbook was to be a sort of fundamental look at how you should think about running hyperparameter sweeps, what sort of plots you should make, how you can be more systemically empirical with like questions like, I have this compute budget, these are the constraints of my problem, therefore how can I systematically go through a bunch of steps and reliably reach a good outcome, and then what process should I have to like do this over and over again, and sort of like that's kind of what the whole playbook is about. And so it got popular at the time on the internet, and I was pretty excited about it, and we released it as a markdown file. So at the time, the standard way of releasing papers or ML artifacts like this was a PDF and archive. But we really wanted to release this as a markdown file with, I think, Creative Commons license or whatever the permissive license is, because we really wanted the community to be able to easily fork it, modify it, come up with their own best practices, and kind of give us pull requests like back or like whatever, like for it to be a sort of collaborative thing. I think we weren't exactly clear. I don't want to overstate it, but it is cool that what ended up happening is that a bunch of folks decided to fork it, and I believe crowdsourced translations in a bunch of different languages, which are not endorsed by us because I can only speak English. But that was pretty cool, and I think it's still pretty relevant today for people training models.
For sure. I think it's an invaluable resource, and I'm not the only one. It has 28,000 stars at the time of recording, which is insane. That's amongst the most stars I've ever seen on a project. So, yeah, hugely impactful, some amazing contributors on there. And so, yeah, thanks to you and the Google Brain team, as well as someone from Harvard University, Christopher Shalou.
Yeah, he actually used to be at Brain before he went to Harvard. Yeah, he's cool. Like I said, even though I'm the first author, the other authors I really like. Shout out to George Dals, Justin Gilmore, Zach Nato, Chris Chalou. They're the real brains behind the outfit, and I was kind of just like learning from them and kind of getting everything going. And yeah, I've learned it was a lot of fun working with them, and I'm grateful we were able to get that out there.
I teach an intro to deep learning course. I've been doing it for coming on 10 years now. And, 5 years ago, roughly 6 years ago, it was published as a book. The curriculum that I developed is an introductory deep learning class, and something that every class always asks. Once I explain that, we can add some more layers, we can double the number of neurons in a layer or all of the layers. And I was like, okay, but why are you making those decisions? And up until now, I basically always just said, well, you can either just experiment and find out empirically by experimenting with a bunch of parameters, or you can do some kind of search. Like the simplest thing is doing a grid search, so just setting up some parameters to search over. But there's also clever Bayesian approaches to homing in on what the ideal parameters could be.
Yeah, so this playbook is about that question pretty much. It doesn't it tries to take a much more general approach, so it won't like it's kind of architecture agnostic in the sense that it won't tell you this is when you should add a new layer versus this is when you should change the width of the layer. But it is about helping practitioners grapple with the question, here are the experiments I have now. What is the experiment I should run next? And because the assumption is that if you can set up the base case and a good recurrence relation, you can iterate your way to success, right? And so there's a lot of thinking in the playbook about how should you think about setting up the right initial state for your experimentation, and how should you think about, given the data that I have collected, what is the next experiment you should do? And I should emphasize, like, like this is meant to be a living document. That's also why it's a markdown file on GitHub. We reserve the right to change our opinions, and feedback is very welcome and encouraged. And it's not the final answer, or like I mean, I won't speak for the author. I won't pretend to be like the arbiter of how everyone should tune their models, But it's just like we've been training models for a while. These are our 2 cents of how one could think about doing it. And so it's not really, that's the kind of vibe, right? And so hopefully it helps people. If it doesn't, please click create issue or something and give us feedback. Yeah.